Hello. All right, let's get started. So, let me just make sure I have the chat open here. All right, I do. So, we are just recently introduced, we've brought back Random 30 into the rotation. So, I'll talk about what that means, and then for Arena. And other than that, I'm just going to be playing games against people, mostly challenges, but feel free to send me a challenge by going here and typing in CJWWG for any format that you like. Soulhound challenged me last time, but I didn't get to his game. So I'm going to see if he's on and try playing a game, against them tonight, and we'll see if they still are there. So, hi Cash, good evening for you as well. Other than that, let's get into it. So, originally Random 30 was in the Arena rotation, and it has been out for a while. We're going to bring it back in, so now it'll be Random 30 followed by, I'm trying to think, so it was just for Random 60, so it'll be Random 30, and then Constructed, and then Dark Draft, and then Random 60, where you get 60 and you build a 30 card deck. And I think this will be nice because, especially for people that don't have very much experience with the cards, Random 30 is a way to dip your feet into Arena and see what it's all about without having to, build a deck, basically, which they are for two of the other game modes. So I am going to probably just start this challenge here, and then maybe play a quick match, and if I do see someone in the arena, I'll just jump in against them. So we're going to see if Soulhound is on. I did get challenged by Soulhound last stream, which was on Wednesday, so it's possible I'll be taking my turn here and I won't get a response. But alright, so I'm just gonna pick up Helion's Fury here, and the reason for that is I really like draw twos. I think Winds of Change is really situational. It's not a card that I usually want in my deck. You want to spend your gold first usually to take advantage of this, and you either need a lot of champions for the first thing to be useful, or you need to spend your gold before your opponent on your turn to get a lot of advantage of a second ability. So it's not a card I pick unless I have a lot of champions, or a lot of untargetable champions. And then aside from that, I think Royal Escort, I've talked about it, is a card that you really want to have some other useful utility champions with. Something like Necromancer Lord makes this card a lot better. And then we've also got Savage Uprising, which is a solid card. I think the deal 5 damage to a player draw card is actually comparable to Flame Strike, in my opinion. It won't finish people off, but it's a really great move when you are ahead on board and your opponent does something neutral like drawing 2 cards. Then this is a good way to punish them, keeping the same number of cards in your hand. And the bottom option can be useful. It's a bit situational, so I wouldn't rely on this as being a board wipe here. And then Alara is a great card if you have Loyalty 2, but I don't like to take Loyalty 2s early. That's my style. I know some people like to take them early and have that dictate the direction of their draft. So I did see someone in the arena. I'm going to jump in and see if I can play against them. It was a bit ago, so we may or may not get an opponent here. All right, I'm up against Castillo, something like that. All right, the opponent's going first. Here, so I had someone ask me about mulligans last stream, so I am going to talk about mulligans in general. So when I mulligan, I'm prioritizing whatever the current turn is. So here, it's going to be the opponent's turn. And this is not a very good hand for my opponent's turn because I have 4 cards that I can't play on my opponent's turn. And I also have Quell, which I consider to be a very weak play on the opponent's turn in most situations. It's possible to play a Wolf's Call or something that puts a bunch of zero-cost champions into play, but otherwise this is bad. So in my opinion, I should just mulligan this entire hand. I could keep the Gudgeon because it's a really good on-turn play. Same with Blue Dragon, but I really need to find something to spend my gold on my opponent's turn. I'm going to mulligan 5 here. And you'll see here, this hand, in my opinion, has much lower quality cards than the 5 that I banished, but for random 30. But I'm much happier having things that actually interact with what my opponent is doing. So this is a bit of a tough spot here because I am being attacked for 14 with Rampaging Worm. I don't want to take 14. That would not be great. So I think what I'm going to do is just play this Frantic Digging and discard a card and try to find an evil card to turn on this Medusa, or just some way to interact with this. I think that is the play here. So I think Priest of Kalnor is the worst card in my hand, so I am going to play Frantic Digging, discard the Priest of Kalnor, and draw a card without recycling. And I did not find any way to interact with that, so I could play the Medusa and just block. So I'd be playing this as a gain 14 health. I think I'm probably going to make that play, unfortunately. Basically, if I didn't play this, I'd be taking 14, so I'm basically sending my gold here as a gain 14 health. Alright, and it's possible we'll be able to get some advantage out of this Army of the Apocalypse if we keep having to block this a lot. Then maybe right now it gets these two into play. Army of the Apocalypse returns every champion in every discard pile to play. We are going to start our turn. I'm going to... Alright. Rax is kind of nice because it gives us a lot to block that, and we can actually profitably block by blocking with 3 champions. So Rax is a perfectly reasonable play here, I think. Yeah, let's just do that. We're going to not deal 2 damage to each opposing champion. Now, we could be getting a lot of advantage out of this loyalty too, but we'd have to draw another evil card to go with the Army of the Apocalypse. Not play the Army of the Apocalypse to draw 2 on our opponent's turn, and also the opponent would have to actually play something with a low amount of health. Unfortunately, it looks like they did here, so we are going to discard the Jungle Queen. I think I am going to try and set up for a Army of the Apocalypse. We are probably going to have to Rain of Fire this, unfortunately. I could definitely get very blown out here. Alright, so here's what we're going to do. So if this takes 5, it'll have 9 health, which means it does not die to 2 demons, which is sad. But it does die to 2 6 health, 6 offense demons. So I'm going to play this Rain of Fire, and I'm going to set it up so that 12 damage kills that, which means it needs to take at least 3 damage. So I'll just do this, doing 3, 4, and 5. Now, this is a pretty dangerous play because I'm going to 1 card in hand, so if Castillo has pretty much anything that makes me discard cards, I will just be relying on the top of my deck. But if I don't do that, then I am going to have to discard another card, go down to 1 card anyway, and they will draw a card. Alright, so the Chomp comes in. Now honestly, even though I can't take this down, that's perfectly fine. I think if I was Castillo, I actually would have attacked first. And then after I had declared blocks, played the Chomp to break my Raxa. So after blocks, but before damage. But that is fine. Alright, so I am going to recycle first. I definitely want to see if I can... I'm going to leave all the champions. Definitely want to see if I have another way to draw 2 cards. I don't, which means I am going to probably have to play this Army of the Apocalypse to draw 2. A little unfortunate considering that right now it is pretty nice to get all of these back into play. But also, I don't have any way to deal with this Thought Plucker, and I think giving my opponent a Thought Plucker versus these 4 champions, these 4 bodies, isn't relevant enough. So, yeah, that's my reasoning. I am going to attack for 4 here. Definitely want to get in as much as possible. We're not in a great spot. It's possible that this play will really backfire on me, but I want to be aggressive because I have less cards in hand. Alright, so they're just going to draw 2. That sounds good to me. We'll see if Castillo would have to have either Raxus Curse, Spike Trap, hands from below. Alright, that's Spike Trap. That is fine. We're just going to draw 2 cards right now. Oh wait, did the Thought Plucker get recycled? Nope. Yeah, we're just going to draw 2 cards. If they recycle the Thought Plucker, I would actually reconsider playing the Army of the Apocalypse to return everything to play. Then it would be really amazing, but because Thought Plucker is still here. But if they had recycled the Thought Plucker with Spike Trap, then the Army of the Apocalypse would just only give me champions, and it would also give me the ability to play wild champions off turn. But we're just gonna play the Army to draw 2 cards, as we need the cards in hand. Now, this Watchful Gargoyle is currently doing a lot right now, so we'll see if Castillo can remove it. Alright, he does have a Rage, so what that means is, as it currently stands, we are going to block, and then that's going to be Raged. But we can't play around that at all, so we're just going to block with this. And we'll see if the Rage comes out. Alright, this would have been a perfect time to Rage, in my opinion, because Rage would give it Breakthrough, and then if I had no tricks, it would be doing, 11 plus 4 would be 15, so I would go down to 10. I probably would have gone for the Rage there, but that's just me. I'm going to go ahead and recycle this Priest of Kalnor and the Jungle Queen. Now, the only reason that I'm leaving the Army of the Apocalypse is in the event that I draw Lessons Learned. I might still want to use this. And I like having some number of events in my discard pile. So I'm also going to play this Muse, because if Castillo had a way to remove Watchful Gargoyle there for 0, Castillo probably would have used it. Castillo. Does Bax still play Star Homes on this channel? Is this Diablo 4? Yeah, it's it's true. We're seeing some very strong synergies here. They even have dinosaur synergy right now, but that's all right. I think we're still in a good spot, actually. I think we've recovered, in my opinion. So Spike Trap's been played. There's not much of a punish for me attacking with Muse here, so I am going to attack with it. I don't really want to block with Muse. Spike Trap is the main reason why I would not attack with Muse. But in random 30, you can't have more than one card of a card in your deck. So I'm not worried about it. I'm going to toss down this Village Protector. It's going to be a great blocker for us. Village Protector gives you 2 human tokens, and then if you have any human tokens out, then it's unbreakable, so it can't die. Bax played Star Realms. I'm not sure if Bax still plays Star Realms on this channel. I don't think so. Sometimes we host people, so it's possible that we host Bax sometimes. Alright, Rage is being used to draw 2, so maybe they didn't play Rage on their turn because it's their only draw 2 in hand, which is reasonable. Alright, Flashfire will come out and deal 2 damage to all champions and players. Now, this is an interesting play. I actually agree with them playing Flashfire on their turn. On my turn. And the reason for that is the Flashfire will damage their champions. So if I had Flame Strike or Drain Essence, then if they Flashfired on their turn, then I could Drain Essence the Raging T-Rex or Flame Strike it. Alright, we might have some synergy here with Secret Legion to make 6 humans and give our... Oh, nope. They're going to play Pyrosaur, and that's going to deal 2 damage to us and all of our champions. And we are going to be very sad. Now, I think we're going to need to make 6 human tokens as blockers. I think that is going to be the play. So we're going to do that. We're not in a good spot here. But that's all right. Now the real question is whether I should assign 3 to this or just 1 and then play Wolf's Companion. I think I'm going to assign 3 just in case they have a combat trick of some kind. I want to be able to counter with my own combat trick. Even though it is nice to get the value out of Wolf's Companion as soon as possible. And they played Flashfire and Rage, so I don't have to really worry about anything here except for Lash or Wither. Since Wither would get rid of all 3 of these, and Lash would give the attacking champion breakthrough. Now one thing about Heliod's Fury, the second mode, return up to 2 champions to their owner's hand and draw a card, I think is actually can be used pretty well if you have a champion of your own you want to return. I frequently use the second mode most often to return a champion like Guilt Demon to my hand, and also one of my opponent's champions. That's definitely something that we want to use Guilt Demon on. Every time you play a wild card that costs a gold, this comes back to your hand. So I'm going to start my turn. Let's see what we got. Alright, so I have Grave Demon, so I am probably going to end up using that to get rid of the Cave Troll later. So I don't need to worry about that too badly right now. It's a real question on to whether I want to return that to hand and draw a card, or and also deal 3 damage, banish 2, or draw 2 cards with it. But I guess the easy way to... I'm taking a lot of damage from this every turn. So I am not in a great spot here. I think one of the hardest things about Dark Draft is that, not Dark Draft, Random 30, is that you really have to use what's given to you. Alright. Are we drawing 2 or are we bouncing 2 and drawing a card? Thing is, I'm actually having a really hard time blocking this Rampaging Worm as well, so it might be bounce 2 and draw a card. But the second card could really matter. I don't have very many cards in my hand. I'm basically going to go down to just Grave Demon plus whatever I draw if I choose the second option. But I do also get to get rid of both of those champions in discard pile, so it's not too bad. I think I am going to do it and just get that off the board. It's like removing it because Castillo doesn't have very many, has other things that they probably want to actually play besides this Rampaging Worm, so I think I'm just going to bounce the 2 and draw a card. I'm going to attack first. So in Epic you can make the attack, and then after attacks returns to your hand and replay it if it has Blitz, and then so I could even play this again and then attack with it. I'll pass here. I'm probably going to hold this in case they decide to play Rampaging Worm on their turn. I'm going to be taking this 5, trying to block that Rage and T-Rex with this. See what happens. Alright, Adventure of the Covenant comes down. It's an 8/8. Not the end of the world. And I'm going to hold on to this Guilt Demon. Hopefully I don't need to use it as a chump blocker, because I would like to continue getting in damage. Getting our opponent low is going to be probably our route to victory here, since they have way more cards in hand than us. So this is going to block there. I'm going to be taking this 5 and then probably trying to play Grave Demon plus Wolf's Companion to block this. Alright, so I'll just do that now then. I'm going to Grave Demon and banish the discard pile. In general, there are plays that I make that are riskier in Random 30 because it's much less likely that your opponent is going to have an answer to it, and also your consistency is much lower in Random 30. So making unsafe plays is usually, making very safe plays, I should say, might not even pay off. Right, so the Wolf's Companion will come in handy here. Usually Wolf's Companion is a card I try to hold on until it will either give me an extra champion or get rid of one of my opponents. So here I used it to try and take down this Avenger of a Covenant without me losing my champion. They played Feint, which gives them their champion back, and it can attack again, and they draw 2. So they get punished for that. I'm going to take the 8, and then this 5 will bring me down to 6. I could Guilt Demon to block this Cave Troll, but I don't think I will. I'm just going to go down to 6. We'll see if I die. Definitely a risky play. Let's see, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. That puts my opponent at 4. I think I am going to do this. I'm going to play this Guilt Demon right now. Banish my own Wolf's Companion, which when it leaves my discard pile, I put a Wolf token into play. I'll try and set up lethal here. Right now, if all of this gets through, my opponent will be at 4. So we're gonna see if I can pull something off. There are 8 cards, so then you discard 1 to maximum hand size. But this is going to be pretty tough. Alright, well, let's attack with Guilt Demon first, so that if they have a way to get rid of it, I can get the banish. Just get rid of Feint, I think. Doesn't really matter. This 8 definitely needs to get in. Even though this line is very risky. Interesting, they're drawing 2. I feel like I need to put pressure on the opponent, or I'm going to lose anyway. So they're going to Brave Squire here to make a human token with 6 offense. That's fine. So that's going to block there, and then neither one will break. They might have something that deals 2 damage to everything, which would ruin my day. We're also going to draw a card from this, and then pass. Now this Vital Mission might really come in handy. This one banishes the champion, and then the controller gains health equal to its offense. So in this game, banishing my own champion might be significantly better than banishing an opponent's champion. If you banish your own champion, you draw 2 cards. Yeah, they are playing what appears to be a constructed deck against my random 30. But sometimes I play... Alright, so... Okay. That sounds good to me. I'm a fan of this because it means that I'm not too worried about taking damage here. One thing that is a little bad about the situation is that if everything attacks, then currently I die to the 5 and the 1. So I think if Castillo was playing smart, they would attack with both of these individually to try and to force me to react, basically. I'm trying to figure out what to do here, though. I'm probably just gonna have to play this Vital Mission first. I'm trying to decide if I should banish something that the opponent has, or if I should draw the 2 cards. I think I'm going to have to draw the 2 cards, which means I have to use it on my own Grave Demon. And then I will hope to get something that goes 0. I did, I got a Second Wind. Going to play it and recycle probably Helion Steering Vital Mission. I'll bring it up to 19. And then I have a 0 cost way that can block here, so I'm just going to take this 5. But I was more desperate. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I am pretty desperate for card draw in this scenario, but the health gain is very irrelevant. one thing you can do with Vital Mission, which can be very useful, especially in random 30, is if you banish your own unbanishable champion, you still gain health equal to its offense and draw 2, but it stays in play. Alright, they're going to play Bellowing Minotaur, which is just going to be a 9/7 for the turn. It has Breakthrough, so I can't really block it. I could block it with this, and then I would take no damage, and they would both break. But then I would take 8. So I can either have both these champions die and take 8, or I can take the 9. So I'm just going to take the 9. Now they can attack me with their human token if they want, which I won't block. Alright, group attack. Very nice. So here, if I block with White Knight, then all 3 break. I'm probably going to play this Revolt and make a 3/1 and then block with a 3/1. And then right now I have, 12 coming through, so I would just need a way to deal 2 damage. I think that's better than sacrificing my White Knight in this situation. So I am going to do this, making a 3/1 and block with the 3/1, which will break the attacking human token, and then bounce off this. All right. Holding on there. It's gonna be a tough game to win, but I could totally pull a deal 2 damage off the top here. That would make it very likely that I win. All right, I did not. Well, let's see. A very risky play would be to attack with both of these individually. Then, if they both get through, to play Dark Leader and attack with it. They would have to have nothing, though. Which doesn't seem very likely. They probably have something. Let's see what I want to do. I'm probably just going to have to play Infernal Gatekeeper here and then pass. Can't really imagine making another play. I could attack. Again, it's pretty risky to attack if I don't have a follow-up. So I'm just going to pass. Castillo's going to spend their gold to do something, and then I can make my attacks if I want. I'm at 4, so it's actually quite likely that I'll just die to a Pyromancer or something. Alright, Surgency to make 4 human tokens. That's a totally respectable play here. I am going to need all of these blockers, so I'm just going to pass. So right now, I can block everything but the human tokens, and I die. So that means that I need to generate at least 1 blocker. But, in my opinion, Castillo should probably just attack with these 4 human tokens. Individually. This person has been making good plays. You don't usually see someone make a group attack in what I consider to be the correct way, which is to force the opponent to block a certain way. This Raging T-Rex has really been a thorn in my side this whole game. I can't really afford to do anything besides just block it with the demon token, though. It's too risky. Luckily, both of these, White Knight and Infernal Gatekeeper, are both 9 defense, 9 offense, which are very good against this 8 offense, 8 defense Avenger, and this 7 offense, 5 defense Minotaur. Alright, there's Flame Spike, choosing, oh, not me, but the Guilt Demon. Okay. Well, I'm glad that they decided to deal 2 damage to that instead of me. Oh, so they're going to attack with a human then. They're doing that before. This way they can attack with 1 human without me getting an easy block of the Guilt Demon, my guess is. Definitely considering something pretty drastic here. Probably just the combat. Oh, I'm dead. Alright, good game. Okay. Yeah, and so that's the arena, and that's what it'll be for the rest of the week. Okay. Let's see what we got here. Alright. Wow, my timeout is going to happen pretty soon there. I will take my turn against History Guy. I think I started a async. I'll just take my turn here so that that if History Guy comes back, then we can play through the game. Otherwise, and I can do the same thing here. Otherwise, what'll happen is I'll just set up a quick match. All right, so yeah, making me discard 2 here. Just making my quick moves. Probably just banish nothing. Look 1. So an interesting thing about Arcane Research is that you can play it without any cards in your discard pile, and it just draws you a card and reveals it to your opponent. Totally reasonable. Here I'm doing it, I guess I can just discard Chomp Answer Below. Yeah. I was considering just doing it in case the card I drew was something I want to discard, but it's probably better just to Arcane Research for more cards on their turn. Alright, I'm going to exit now and do a quick match. I have someone ask me if I could go over random 60 incoherently. Yeah, the asynchronous mode is one of those things where I think it's polarizing. Some people really like, you know, taking their turn in a game and then coming back to the game, you know, a long time later, and some people really don't like it. I think it is good in that people frequently take their turn back and forth a lot, but you definitely can't depend on your opponent to stay there. So it's actually one of the reasons that we increased the real-time timer, was because people were having trouble just doing everything in the time limit. So I think that now there's the increased timer, people shouldn't be having any issues with it. But you know, we'll see if anything needs to be adjusted on the timer side in the future. I do like Lumiere. That's a nice name. I hope I'm saying that right. Lumiere. I don't know. All right. Ancient Chant. Could also play some Not Discard today. We'll see. I think it's actually the deck I have queued up, but it might not be. Now, one thing about recall, gold recall cards to consider is one thing that I've talked about a bit is how I always like to have ways to draw cards. And sometimes when I'm building a deck, one of the weaknesses of cards like Drain Essence is that they don't have the ability to draw 2 cards. So if you start jamming a lot of cards into your deck that only have one purpose, they can't be used, they can't be cycled, then you'll end up with some inconsistent situations where you have cards that you can't play for the situation, and you can't use them to draw 2 cards. Or just spend your gold to do something like Savage Uprising, can't draw 2, but you can play it in any situation where your opponent isn't untargetable, just deal 5 to them and draw a card. Now recall can actually help fill a deck that has trouble drawing 2. So if you are building a constructed deck without many draw 2s in it, or you don't have very many plays you can make if the opponent just does nothing, then basically sometimes adding a recall card either just to the deck or in place of a different slot is a good way to fill that gap a bit. Alright, so I think here I'm going to take this Grave Demon. None of these cards are particularly crazy in my opinion. I think they're all, including Grave Demon, I think they're all about middle of the pack. in Limited. Something like, some people swear by Frost Giant. I think it requires your gold to spend their, it requires your opponent to spend their gold first to be really amazing, or for you to spend your gold first, and for your opponent not to have a good answer. So I think this card gets worse the better your opponent is at playing around it, and other effects like it. Any Punisher, really. It's definitely a great card if I'm lacking a Punisher. And Surprise Attack is a card that I don't usually want in Dark Draft. I mean, unless I have a lot of one-cost champions. And then Avenger of Covenant is okay. It's a good, fine ambush card. I really like Grave Demon for its utility. Being able to having at least one card in your deck that banishes a discard pile. That interacts with the discard pile will help you a lot against things like Cave Troll. Alright, so I'm going to take this Revolt here and probably Entangling Vines. The reason is, Revolt is a draw 2, so any 0 cost with a draw 2 option is a pretty safe pick in Dark Draft. And I don't have, if I had a higher density of draw 2s, then I would take something else, but there wasn't anything in that pack that was super duper exciting. Probably going to take this Noble Unicorn. Entangling Vines is a card that is really good at pushing your opponent to act first, because usually you can expend their on-turn play and then attack with it, and it can be really difficult to not spend your gold first against a 9 offense attack. Alright, so here, I mean, I really like Steel Golem. I'm probably just going to take both of these and go into Sage. I could take the Secret Legion and try and fill, well, honestly, also the Revolt helps a lot. Oh, man. Alright, oh well. Definitely, I'll talk some more about attacks. Basically, alright, so in this pack, I'm probably going to take the Wolfspite. Yeah. Now what's interesting is as I took the Steel Golem there, I think I should have taken Deadly Raid. I totally have the makings of a good token deck with Revolt, Secret Legion, Noble Unicorn, and Entangling Vines even is very good. If you have a lot of small champions, you can use it on their big blocker. Secret Legion and Revolt go really well together, because you play Secret Legion for 6 human tokens with Blitz, and then Revolt gives you a 7th, and they all get +2 attack, so you just instantly get 21 offense. Here I'm going to take Veldin and probably Hurricane. Yeah, those two look solid. Veldin is a fine Punisher without anything else. It's a 10-13 with Blitz, so you can think of it like a mini Rampaging Worm. But if you have Loyalty, even just one card, it can be really strong with a very small amount of loyalty. So I think this Loyalty X is actually stronger than it looks, especially in Dark Draft, because you only really need one card in your hand for it to be powerful. But it actually drops off the more you get, in my opinion. I'm going to take Second Wind here. I don't have any recycles. I'm a really big fan of it. Juggernaut and Temporal Shift are both also good picks. But the fact I don't have any recycles now, it's 10th pick, which means that's the first third of my deck. So if I get 3 recycles, I'm very happy. Here, I'm definitely taking Keeper of Secrets. I want to go more into Sage to try and actually get Loyalty 2 for Steel Golem. And 0-cost Blitz Champions are going to be good in my deck. And then I'm probably going to take Memory Spirit. Feint is also reasonable, but again, I want to fill my Sage cards, and Memory Spirit goes really well with Second Wind and Wolfspite. I'll try and focus on attacks this game. So I'll talk a little bit about how I decide to make attacks and when to attack. I think there's sometimes where it's very, very clear, and sometimes where it's not clear really at all, and you just have to make a decision. So yeah, so here I'm going to take Watchful Gargoyle. I really like the recycle again. I want a couple more recycles. I think that both those other 2 cards were also reasonable picks in this pack. I actually have plenty of good cards here. Right now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In my opinion, you want 10 to pick Loyalty 2s. So I'm going to take this Brand. I think I'm going to be able to get the Loyalty 2 off of it. And I'm probably going to take Lesson Learned. just to fill more stage slots, and also it's generally a nice card at the end of my draft. I like having it in most decks. The martial law is also totally reasonable because it goes well with my humanesque theme. Alright, so here, it's interesting. I'm not sure the Wither will necessarily be good against me, but there's a chance it might be. Probably going to take the Wither here for that reason. It's also just a nice card. Lash is also a good card, but it definitely can be... I don't think I have the right deck to utilize Lash very well. Don't have that many big champions. Can't use it on Steel Golem. I can't use it on anything with 1 health. And I am probably going to be playing more of a defensive or tempo type of game with this deck. So I'm going to take Ogre Mercenary and probably Timebender here. And the reason is, again, I really like the Tribute Recycle. We don't have that many recycles yet. I think that will be my 4th. If you include Keeper of Secrets, which I don't necessarily, because a lot of the time I don't use the ability like that. So here I probably want to race. Right now for draw 2s I have Revolt, Secret Legion, Hurricane, Lessons Learned. So I have 4 draw 2s. I think I want to aim for something like 6 to 8. So I'm going to take this. I think Kong is also very strong, and as is Winged Death. So I will probably have to play around that Kong. It might be bad to pass it since my opponent is probably on Wild. But I took it. Alright, I think I'm going to take War Machine here. And the question is reusable knowledge or Helion's Fury. I think Helion's Fury is not where I want to be with this deck. So I'm going to take the reusable knowledge. I think having 2 ways to return cards in your deck, in this case reusable knowledge and memory spirit, can really make your game plan much stronger, because I can focus on doing things like playing Wither twice in a turn, or something along those lines. Alright, probably Heinous Feast here. I don't think I have enough for Necromancer. Yeah, I definitely don't have enough for Necromancer Load. Alright, Zealous Necromancer is also completely reasonable, as is Resurrection. I'm just going to hope my opponent is not an evil. I don't actually know if they are or not. Here, Guilt Demon, Corpsemonger, Reaper, and Lurking Giant are all reasonable. I have a couple of ambush champions already, these 3, plus Memory Spirit, plus Timebender, so I don't think I need another one. I'm not going to take the Lurking Giant. I don't have any evil allies for Reaper, so I'll just take the Corpsemonger here. This is interesting. Draka is not very good in my deck. I think it might ruin my day, though. I really don't have enough good champions to play Angel of Mercy well. I'm probably going to take this Erratic Research just as my 6th draw, or yeah, I think it's my 7th draw too. Rax's Displeasure is also fine. Right now for board clears, I just have the Hurricane. I might get punished for that. Alright, Inner Demon and Necrovirus. I think I like both of those picks. Gudgeon's also quite nice. I don't really have a lot of on-turn plays. I don't really have any ways to spend my gold on turn. I flip that around. I might take the other 2. Alright. Yep, I'm taking the other 2. I just completely changed my mind. Even though these are hard removal, I think I actually want more on-turn play champions. Those are my only 2 right now. This one, I'm thinking Fumble is probably going to be the pick. Rift Summoner is also quite good with human tokens, which I have a lot of. But, yeah, I mean, it's really hard to go wrong with Fumble. Gold Dragon is also reasonable, but I have a couple Punishers right now with Steel Golem and Veldin. And then from here, it's probably going to be Hunting Pack and Citadel Raven. I don't have loyalty for Scaros or Plentiful Dead, so these 2 are the clear decision, I think. And then again, I do think I made a mistake there a couple of times. I didn't take, I think I should have taken the Break All Non-Demons. I think that was a mistake, because this is going to be my only board wipe, really. But we'll see if I get punished for that. I think I should have taken the Martial Law earlier, that banishes all champions or makes 5 humans. I think I also should have taken Deadly Raid over Steel Golem. I think all three of those things would have made my deck much more focused on putting out a lot of things, and later in the pack, later in the set, or in the draft, when I ended up getting Wolfspite and Hunting Pack, those would have really come together. So I'm going first. I think what I'm going to do is toss this Reusable Knowledge and Brand. Don't have Loyalty 2 for it really, so it's a little awkward. Could keep it, it's not the end of the world really. Normally I would toss this Hurricane, but it's just my only way to interact with all champions. So if I toss it, I'm not going to have it for the rest of the game. It's still probably right to toss it. I'm going to keep these other two. Alright, so I think, let's see what the plan is. Yeah, I'm going to do this play actually. So I'm going to play this Corpsemonger and just attack for 4. The reason is I have this erase to back me up, so I can erase either the Corpsemonger or their ambush champion. If they just take the 4, I'll pass to them. If they remove it, I'll play Mythic Monster. The reason that I like this line is it lets me set up for Entangling Vines on their turn, and then Mythic Monster on my turn. So yeah, this is great. I am going to erase that. Fantastic here. So basically what happened was by playing a 0 and attacking first, I was able to get my opponent to spend their gold first, and I set myself up for this erase. So basically we both spent our gold, them to put a card into play which went back to their hand, and me to draw 2. So I think that put me very far ahead. I mean, it doesn't actually, I'm not really threatening my opponent, but it gave me a lot of card advantage. And what's really nice about this line is I can play Entangling Vines on their turn to expend a champion, and then on my turn I can play Mythic Monster if necessary. Alright, so let's see what I'm going to do here. I don't really need to expend that because it's so small. So I'm probably just going to play Noble Unicorn on my turn. I mean on their turn. It's probably going to be the Gudgeon. I actually have plenty of ways to draw cards in my hand here, so I'm just going to toss this Gudgeon, I think. It's quite nice just to play, but the rest of this hand is pretty nice to interact with my opponent. I don't think I'll need the extra draw too. Oh, I don't think it would make sense to play Entangling Vines on my own turn, because what would happen is I would expend the Angel of the Gate. So they would take 4, and then their turn would start, and they would gain 5, and then hit me for 7. You really want to try and play Entangling Vines on your opponent's turn. Alright. They just played this, and then passed. It's interesting. So what you want to do with Shadow Imp, I think that this is just a mistake. They should have played Shadow Imp and attacked me for 2, and then after I took the 2 and passed back to them, they could play Thought Plucker, make me discard a card, they draw a card, and then put the Shadow Imp into their hand. It's possible what happened was they drew this off of the Thought Plucker. That's why they didn't play it first. But then what I would do is pass to my opponent with a Thought Plucker in my hand, and then after I play the Noble Unicorn. Because if this was a Pyromancer, which does 4 damage when it gets played, I would feel really silly to have played the Shadow Imp and then passed. Alright, so we're just going to attack with, I could actually just play this to draw a lot. Drawing 3 for my gold, very nice. So I'm just going to make that play and then pass. We'll see what our opponent does. You can always attack after, oh, I see, if I didn't have the erase, so let me go back a bit. So you're asking if I didn't have the erase. If I didn't have the erase, I would actually not have played Corpsemonger. I would have mulliganed away the Corpsemonger if erase wasn't in my starting hand. Kept the Corpsemonger because erasing it is very viable. Like if I play this and attack my opponent for 4 and then they just draw 2, I would have erased the Corpsemonger instead of playing the Mythic Monster. Alright, so they played Angel of the Gate here. Kind of like this play. Gonna attack with both as a group. See how they block, and we have the fumble here, which will give a champion -10 attack. So if they block with Angel of the Gate, I'll give it -10 attack. Alright, and they're just going to take 10, which sounds great to me. So basically we were able to force 10 damage through and draw 3. They're going to gain 10 here. I mean, sorry, 5, and go up to 21. Probably going to have to take this 7. I am going to play the fumble on the Thought Plucker so that I don't have to discard a card. When this deals damage to a player, they discard a card and you draw a card, but it doesn't happen if it has 0 attack. So one really interesting way to deal with Thought Plucker is Rakkus Enforcer, because it gives all the opponent's champions -3 attack. So while Rakkus Enforcer's in play, Thought Pluckers can't hit you. But, alright, so if they didn't attack with Thought Plucker first, I would totally just play Entangling Vines and expend it. But they did. So here, I am going to play this fumble first. Let's give it -10 attack and recycle. Do I have anything that matters? I have Memory Spirit, so I should leave the Erase, because it's the most likely card for me to get back out of these with Memory Spirit. Now, the real question is, do I want to... I'm just going to pass to attack events, and we'll go to block events. I might want to play Entangling Vines and expend the Angel of the Gate on their turn so that they can't attack me with it. I'm not sure yet. Nah. I'll just block with Watchful Gargoyle. Watchful Gargoyle. This card frequently I just use to stop a big attack instead of actually playing it as a champion that I want to attack with. How would you have played? Oh, sorry, I should be talking about combat. I said I was going to. How would I have played their blocks? So, if my opponent does something like a group attack, I already assume that they're planning something. So I think them not blocking was correct. Maybe I would have to think about what they could have. I think it's very hard. Sometimes it can be very hard to play around to what you think your opponent might have. In this scenario where I group attack with both of these against what? A Thought Plucker and a Angel of the Gate. Yeah, it can be very difficult because basically you definitely don't want to block with Thought Plucker because the value you get out of hitting the opponent with it and drawing a card is very high. Angel of the Gate. They may have just thought that this Noble Unicorn, they didn't want to trade the Noble Unicorn with the Angel of the Gate, which is also reasonable, even if I don't have a trick. The Angel of the Gate will immediately gain them 5 health if I don't remove it, and this is a really big threat. It's a 12-point swing every turn because you deal 7 to your opponent and also gain 5. Alright, coming back to this. They just played Noble Martyr and attacked me. So here I'm going to play Entangling Vines and expend that because this can block the Noble Martyr profitably. So in general, if possible, so in an ideal world, you always want to block such that your defense is bigger than your opponent's offense and your offense is the same or more than their defense. That would be perfect. Yeah, so in this scenario, I would have done the same thing. I would have just taken the 10. So here, I would not have played Noble Martyr and attacked. I think that they made these 2 attacks correctly. So I always attack with whatever I think my opponent will need to react to first, if possible. It kind of depends on the situation. It's very nuanced. But here, Thought Plucker is very good because making them discard a card and draw a card or potentially spend their gold first are both fantastic. And then also it correctly plays around things like Entangling Vines or Ice Drake, which expend your champion. So, yeah, so and then attacking with Shadow Imp I think is correct next because it's unblockable. So you just want to get that damage in. If they have a 0 cost way to get rid of Shadow Imp, that doesn't work on Thought Plucker. I guess that would have to be something that gets rid of Shadow Imp that doesn't get rid of Thought Plucker is something that interacts with 0 cost champions. So Rax's Curse or Quell. And then attacking with Angel of the Gate last. I think is better than playing this Noble Martyr, because basically, if I'm going to do something to Angel of the Gate, I should just do it before before it deals damage to me. Now, the reason that they might have chosen not to attack with Angel of the Gate is because they wanted to use it for blocking. I definitely think it's best to be aggressive with Angel of the Gate, since if it stays in play, then it just deals 7 and you gain 5 every turn. So that's a lot to have a 12-point swing every turn. So I definitely would have attacked with Angel of the Gate there instead of trying to block. Last turn they didn't want to block, and they probably wouldn't want to block again. But they decided to play Noble Martyr, so if I had Noble Martyr in play on their turn, I just would have played the Noble Martyr and passed. I would not have attacked with Noble Martyr. The reason I don't want to attack with Noble Martyr is it's really bad against pretty much any ambush champion that costs a gold, because a lot of ambush champions for gold have more than 7 defense. So Ice Drake, Grave Demon, I played this one, Entangling Vines, that's 3. Avenger of the Covenant, Angelic Protector, Surprise Attack, basically with anything. There's definitely some other ones, but usually when I play Blitz Champion, unless it would be lethal, I just pass without attacking with it. Let my opponent spend their gold first, then attack with it. And this is exactly why. If they had passed, I would still have made the same play, and then after expending their probably the same thing, they could just have this as a blocker. Alright, and then here I get to use Corpsemonger and banish a card in a discard pile and just get rid of that secondary effect immediately. And gain 3 health. So it really did not work out well for them. One thing I'm considering is just playing this War Machine to banish both of these 0-cost cards, or Mythic Monster and expend that. Let's see, so 21, right now 15. So with War Machine that is lethal, I think I'm going to do it. So I'm just going to play War Machine here. Banish all opposing 0-cost champions. That banishes both of those. They don't get to recycle off of Warrior Golem. Reveal both of these to give War Machine Blitz. And then I'll attack with War Machine. So the reason I'm attacking with War Machine first is it is a big attacker. So the main reason, I normally would just attack with both of these individually and then play the War Machine, but the Warrior Golem basically it just does a lot for them to have it block. Here the damage I'm dealing with these champions is very relevant, and if they just play an event, if they block with Warrior Golem and then play an event with their gold, then my champion is still blocked, and they get to recycle with their Warrior Golem. So I don't want that. I'd rather deny them the card draw off of the Warrior Golem. I'm going to attack with both of these. And you see here, by making that play, I was able to force them into using their gold just to chump my War Machine here. And I definitely wanted to use Corpsemonger before attacking, just so that they couldn't activate Noble Martyr, because as soon as I attack, they get priority. Now, let's see. They're at 6. I could get in for 3 with Guild Demon. I'm not going to. This is what I would call overextended. Basically, I have a lot of champions in play, and they don't. So the probability is high that if they had a way to clear the board in hand, then they would play it here. Alright, so in this scenario, I have to decide what I want to do about this. Because right now I'm going to be taking 1, discarding a card, and then them drawing a card. I think the right play is just to let it happen. So we are going to do that. Yeah. Probably just going to discard this Grave Demon. I think it's the worst card in my hand. Basically, I don't want to discard my only draw 2 cards. And it has conflicting... I have another ambush champion that I can spend my gold on, and I have another way to banish their discard pile that I can spend my gold on, so I don't think it's worth either of those. Now here, as them, it depends a lot on what they have in their hand. If I have Thought Plucker in play, the only time I don't attack with Thought Plucker first is if I have something that triggers on attacks. So generally I always play my triggers on attacks first. And then I will play, then I'll attack with my unblockable champions, and then I attack with my other evasive champions like Airborne or, what's the other one? Breakthrough? Or something along those lines. I try making safe attacks. Basically, I attack with what I consider to be the almost always a good attack to not sure if it's a good attack, because the circumstances might change if my opponent plays something. So here, I have to decide what to do about this. I am probably going to play this Watchful Gargoyle first, and I'm going to leave the fumble. I think it's much more important to leave the fumble than anything else. This gives all good champions righteous, so basically what's going to happen is right now they're going to gain 13, which is not good for me. Let's see. Alright, I am probably just going to do that. Let's see, 5, 7. Yeah, I'm going to do that. So I'm going to get back fumble here with Memory Spirit. Go to blocks. Just going to block with both of these and then fumble it so that my 7 takes out their Angel of the Gate, and then they don't gain the 7 from the righteous. So here, the reason that I'm doing it like this is I want to take down that 7 defense. So I decided if I didn't, if I drew, I wanted to try and draw an answer off of the recycle for this Gold Dragon. But because I didn't, I'm just going to use this fumble here to basically remove this champion since it keeps gaining them a lot of health. This one has to attack every turn in order to gain the health or block. So it's actually, in my opinion, much less scary than Angel of the Gate, which gains you 5 every turn, even if you're in a board stall scenario where neither player really wants to attack that much. And then this Gold Dragon, it is going to attack. Alright, they're going to play Little Devil. So right now that's, ooh, they're passing. Now I definitely would attack with Gold Dragon here. I think you really need to gain that health. It's possible their hand is such that if they attack with this and I attack them with everything, then they'll die, for sure. So it's probably the case if they're making that play. But I don't know what's in their hand, so I can't say. So let's see here. Yeah, I mean, usually I just want to make attacks that, so for example, I think activating this Corpsemonger is perfectly reasonable because I have so much on board right now that if my opponent had a way to clear the board, they would just play it. I think the only reason that it's not a good idea is because right now they could, they play Little Devil, so they're probably not going to clear the board, but maybe they have some kind of weird effect that I'm not thinking of. So here I'm going to attack with this, well, yeah, it's a little weird the way I'm doing this attack, but I think I'm going to do it. I'm going to probably use this Wither on the Gold Dragon, which will make it lose 3 offense and also take 3 damage. So that way my Memory Spirit will break it, and it will only heal them for 3 because it has a Righteous. They're not blocking it, which I think is totally reasonable here because I'm doing something weird. Usually when your opponent does something weird, then you're a little afraid. I would probably just block with Little Devil there. I guess they're trying to save it for these big champions. So that is a tell to me that they have no way to stop these big champions. Yeah, basically. What else do I want to do? So the real question is, how much do I want to push them? I think I'm going to attack with one of these medium-sized champions. So this is lethal. which is why I'm choosing to attack with it. So they have to block it. They can't not block this. I can still wither their Gold Dragon if they block with that. And then they'll go to 9 and still die to taking damage from either of these. So in this scenario, yeah, they kind of have to do that, even though it's not looking good for them. So I'm just trying to play around. Basically, I'm in such a commanding position here. I'm just trying to put them in a position where they spin their gold first, so I actually know how to react. Because I don't want to just toss cards onto the board and then get hit with an Inheritance of the Meek or Savage Uprising or something along those lines. So I'm going to play around Savage Uprising by attacking with Entangling Vines. So if they play a Savage Uprising right now, then to deal 9 damage to all 1-cost champions, then War Machine will still be alive. But they have to block Entangling Vines in order to not die. Alright, yeah, so they don't have Savage Uprising. I mean, they could have it, but they probably don't. So let's see if this is lethal here. The reason I decided to, basically, because Memory Spirit and Noble Unicorn were safe attacks that combined were lethal, I made those first. There was no other real way for me to get lethal. I could have attacked with one of these bigger ones, but I really liked the idea of making each of my champions lethal, which there was a line with by attacking with Noble Unicorn. Okay. Well, I'm not sure what just happened there. I think I might have just double-clicked and accidentally opened the game. The end of the game there. Alright. So I'm just going to hop right back into Quick Match. What time is it? Wow, it's already 9. Alright. Well. Yeah, no, definitely. So I think I'm just going to call it because it's 9. I didn't actually play, I only played one game, but didn't end up going pretty long. So if you have anything that you'd like to see or content that you'd like covered on Epic, for example, building a specific type of constructed deck or a very specific type of scenario or building around certain cards, then you can mention it in the chat and I'll think about doing that for the next stream. I know someone asked about going over the random 60 picks, but right now random 60 isn't available in the arena, so I'll be doing that the next time. But in the meantime, great. Yeah. All right. So I'll focus on explaining how you build the burn deck, and that'll be the start of the next stream on Monday. So same time at 8. Other than that, I'm going to be heading out, and I hope you all have a good weekend. An epic weekend.